Hey there, and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Amy, and I'm a stay-at-home mom who is learning every day what it means to live simply, intentionally, and in alignment with God's purpose for my life. This channel is all about embracing a slower pace, finding joy in the little things, and creating a home filled with peace, purpose, and faith. But I haven't always lived this way. And I'm definitely not perfect. But through prayer, letting go of pressure, and leaning into God's grace, I continue to find so much beauty in living simply. So whether you're a fellow mama like me, someone seeking a more grounded lifestyle, or just curious about what it means to live simply with God at the center, you're welcome here. And let's walk this journey together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me in the comments. I would love to hear your story too. We've had quite a number of new faces around here, and so I wanted to dedicate this video to just reintroducing myself, helping you get to know me a little bit better, my family, and why it is I'm so passionate about the things that I share here. You might watch my videos and come to this channel and think that living simply comes easy for me, but it doesn't, and it didn't. For years, I worked as a full-time ICU nurse, and outside of that, I struggled so much with letting go. I struggled with letting go of control, with feeling good enough, feeling enough and worthy in my own skin, in my own body, in my own self. And I repeatedly, over and over, found myself in burnout. I found myself struggling and frustrated with what is that I'm here to do. Why is it so hard? Why is life so hard? And why do I feel like I am just surviving my way through life, physically, mentally, emotionally? No matter what I did and how hard I tried, I always felt like something was missing. I always felt like this just isn't how I'm supposed to feel. This isn't happiness. And I just live by the motto of like, fake it till you make it. I put so much pressure on outward appearances. I people pleased my way through life, hoping that I would somehow eventually feel fulfilled. That I would somehow eventually come to this moment where I felt like, okay, I've made it. This is what I'm here to do. And I would feel enough in that. And spoiler alert, that time never came. But I'm so thankful because through all those years, I know now all that struggle, all that pain was leading me to the revelation that I had a few years ago. It was leading me to the breaking point. So if you don't know, I am married to my husband, Nate. We've been married this June for 7 years. And when we met, we both were in the height of our careers. He is a union electrical lineman, and I was working full-time as a nurse. And I had just taken a job with daytime hours and call, and I thought that this was it. I was ready for the next chapter of my life, gonna get married, settle down, and have kids. And I thought that nursing was just inevitably going to be the thing that I did for the rest of my life. I've never really pictured myself doing anything else that didn't revolve around caring for others. And yet, in the back of my mind, I just struggled like with how am I going to keep this up? How am I going to work like this and have a family and raise my kids and do it all? Flash forward, very early on in our marriage, we began to struggle with the balance of it all. We began to struggled with finding time for each other and seeing one another and building a life together because so much of our time was spent apart. And so we started to have discussions and arguments early on about making sacrifices, about who's going to make sacrifices, how is this going to last, honestly. And at the time, it was so incredibly painful and it was so hard and I felt so alone and I felt so confused and heartbroken because I felt like God had led me to nursing. I felt like God had led me, to where I was. But the truth is that I really wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was living my purpose, but I did feel like I had checked all the boxes, the right boxes up until that point. And so the next few years of our marriage, the next few years of our life were so mixed, as is everything. On the surface, it looked like we were living this happy fairy tale life. We moved into this house, we started our family. I started a network marketing business in order to make more income, to financially be able to afford to step back from nursing, which I eventually did. But what nobody saw was the hustle and the grind and the lack of safety that I felt in doing all of that. I did all of those things not in alignment with God, not in faith and in trust of His love for me, but I did it out of fear that if I didn't do these things, that I would be abandoned, that my husband would leave me, that somehow things were just not going to work out. I was going to repeat the past. I was going to repeat old cycles. I was going to end up in a place that I didn't want to be. Ironically, we still ended up there. I still ended up almost on the brink of divorce from my husband because I tried to control everything. I took everything into my own hands instead of releasing it into God's hands. So all this time, I didn't truly know God. I wasn't in conversation with God like I am now, but I was speaking to what I considered universe, source. I got very into Gabby Bernstein and the idea of manifestation and just the idea of something bigger, but I still was afraid and insecure to claim and admit that that presence was God, because my whole life I felt sort of like abandoned by Him. I didn't feel claimed by Him. I didn't grow up in a Christian family. Church was not a part of our lifestyle, and we looked down upon and judged the church because, ironically, how judgmental and critical we felt everyone that we knew in the church to be. But God never gave up on me. You know, He put that hunger and that presence in my heart early on, and I always felt Him, but I never pursued Him. I always felt like He was there, and there's so many instances in my life that I know without a shadow of a doubt that that was God looking out for me, protecting me, directing me, even if it was painful and excruciating. I can see now that He was just trying to guide me back home. He was trying to guide me back to what He truly wanted for me and guide me here, honestly. So with that said, in 2021, when everything came shattering down with my life, with my marriage, with where I was, with nursing, with everything, I found myself finally surrendered. I finally realized that what God wants for me, I finally had this knowing, this understanding that I can't focus on everything else. I can't focus on others. I need to focus on my relationship with Spirit. I need to focus on healing my soul, nurturing myself so I can show up and be the mother and the wife that I crave to be, regardless of where that leads me. I was going to focus on healing and growth, and I was never going to lose sight of that again. That's truly, honestly, what led me back to God. I ended up going back to nursing for a little bit and trying to make that work because I felt like I needed to at the time to really find that clarity I needed. That home was really where I was meant to be. And after about a year of working part-time in the ICU and being a stay-at-home mom, I realized that it just was not in alignment with the family that I wanted to build and the home life that we wanted to create. And so I stepped away after the birth of our second son. And I have been working on growing in the home ever since. And last year, and throughout all that time, I have felt God knocking on my door. I have felt Him pursuing me again. I have felt Him guiding me and helping me to prune away the things that were no longer in alignment with His path for me. I felt like I could hear Him more and more and more as I continued to trust and take steps in faith towards the things that He was leading me to. And don't get me wrong, this was scary and intimidating and so hard at the time because You have to be willing to let go of your identity that you created for yourself. And you have to be willing to step into the unknown of the identity that He designed for you. That is what has made me so passionate about motherhood and living frugally and intentionally and curating our home, curating a haven, to homeschooling, to living simply and cooking more from scratch and just focusing on our health and our holistic lifestyle that is nurtured and rooted and grounded in the Lord and what He designed for us. And the more that I have done that, the more at peace and fulfilled and honestly joyful I have become, because I no longer feel like I am trying to create this mask of perfection. I just feel like I am just blanketed with this peace and knowing that God's got me, that He is with me, and walking with Him and trusting in Him, I will be led. He will lead me towards the highest good and the highest good of all and for my family. So here we are in our beautiful home, living on our 10-acre homestead, finding joy and simple living and taking care of my kids and growing in motherhood, continuing to sanctify and edify myself, to release my sinful nature, to overcome the struggles of motherhood and building a home, curating a home, and finding joy and fulfillment and passion in being a stay-at-home mom. It's not easy. I still stumble, I still struggle, but every single day I pray to God to use me as a vessel, to continue to clear out the weeds of my heart and to fill me with His love and guide me towards the mother and the wife and the homemaker that I know I'm meant to be, that He wants for me, that He knows that is in me. And just by taking one step forward each and every day, I find that I'm getting one step closer. So that is why I created this channel. I created this channel to help speak love and light and purpose and encouragement into the hearts and minds and souls of other mothers like me that have struggled and stumbled and found themselves at crossroads with where it is that they are meant to be, wondering if they're alone, feeling like nobody gets it, and looking for that light, that encouragement that it's gonna be okay. And I'm here to tell you it's gonna be okay. I'm here to tell you that as long as you keep trusting and taking those small steps forward in faith and listening to the whispers that God puts on your heart, know that He is not leading you astray. So my loves, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it encouraged you, inspired you. And I hope that I see you back here. I put out new videos every week on mindful motherhood, budget-friendly homemaking, and intentional living. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.